Hey guys, Nick with Starfall Sabers here, and this is a brief overview breakdown of Saber 3, the champion from Starfall Infinity Sabers. And this one by far has the most intricate shroud setup, and so I wanted to make sure I go over that. First off, we'll do the easy stuff first. So you have your switch section with the box. There is these teeny tiny screws here, one here, and one here, and we have the included wrench for that. If you back those out, this card slides out, and you'll see there's a plunger switch right here. So carefully take, you don't have to back the screws all the way out, just enough to loosen this card to slide it back, and then carefully you could take that little pin out, and then there's two set screws that remove this box. That's if you need to do that for any type of weathering or painting. When you go to put the box back in place, just make sure that these teeny tiny set screws are towards the emitter side of the blade holder. Otherwise, if it's backwards, it's not going to work with the switch section. This plunger, when it's out of the box, you can screw the top down or out to adjust the height of where it sits inside the inner diameter of the saber, and you want it just about flush, just how this is. Same with this plunger switch as well. This comes out, and you can adjust by screwing it tighter or loosening it. Where is it? There it is. You can see the Phillips head. And that will, again, to ensure that when it's in the ID of the saber, that it is nearly flush with the saber wall. So here's the easy part. Now I made a separate video to go over best practices for installing and removing your Infinity core. If you purchase this saber and also the core, I'll have it installed for you. Otherwise, I'm going to leave that up to you to do if you buy the core later or if you're swapping it with another hilt. But this is the set screw that's going to tighten the core down. But please make sure you do watch that video because it goes over some best practices for making sure everything's aligned and secured properly. And then you have your pommel. Now, of course, with Infinity, the whole idea is that every switch section and grip and pommel will all work. You can interchange. This is one of the static grips, so no grip sleeve works with this one, as well as Saber 2, the Acolyte. Those are the two static grips. The Guardian has the grip sleeve, which opens up your options a little bit. So what I want to do is show you the whole shroud system for the champion. And what we're going to do first is put it in the configuration of the tri shrouds, the 3 shrouds, because that's how it's going to ship. And then by doing that, you'll see how to change it down to either 1 or 2. And it may seem like very obvious, but we actually made some different rings here for the mounts, so that way it hides as many set screws as possible. So first off, this is the main shroud that'll go over. And this one comes with a collar. So with Infinity, the Acolyte and the Champion both have these collars. So that just gives you another option to unscrew and mix and match. Okay, so we'll install that on the saber in a minute. But I want to show you, this is the set screw to secure the emitter shroud over the blade holder and clock it however you'd like. And if you notice, we have this these slots. There's 2 slots in the emitter shroud, which will allow you to clock it in different ways that you'd like. Just you want to make sure that those slots line up with at least one of the blade holder's blade retention screws so that you can actually secure your blade. And I'll show you what I mean. So if you're going to put this in the configuration of how it's demoed with 3 shrouds installed, you're going to want to use this shroud ring that has the most holes. You'll see there's 3 up top and 1 on the bottom, and that'll match with the emitter shroud. So you would line those up like so, and then you would use these 3 screws to mount the shrouds. Not on this one though, because you'll need access to clock this once it's on, and that's where this little brass guy comes in place. It's actually going to hide that set screw. So let me just show you what I mean first. So again, these 3 top ones will match the 3 holes here. Let me get this wrench out here before I get too far. And again, I might just be over-explaining all this, but rather be safe than sorry. All right. It's always fun to try to do this on camera. I feel like the pressure's on. Once you get one on, then it's going to be a lot easier since everything will line up. All right, and then you want to tighten that down. There we go. All right, so now that's secure. So you got one on. In fact, maybe I don't have to show you all of them just for sake of time. So once you have that lined up with the 1, 2, 3, with the set screw exposed, now you can see how these other shroud plates will go on, and you'll get that tri-shroud look. And when you slide this over the blade holder, you would want to line this up, at least one of these slots, with the holes that we provided to for your blade retention. So you can clock it that way, or like so, or like so. And so you can play around with different ways you want to do that. And then you can tighten this set screw up and put this brass greebly over it so it hides that. But let's say you want to do the 2 shroud setup. Let's do that. So you would actually use a different mounting ring. That's why we have 2 of them. And you'll notice this one just has 2. So first off, you definitely want to remove this guy here so that it doesn't become hidden underneath the shrouds. You'll see what I mean. When you're working with this, make sure you work over a flat surface so you don't lose all these little screws, because they can go flying and they can be lost forever. Okay, there we go. Now it's lined up. So even I have to kind of think about this as I do this. Let's see what I want to do here. Yep. Okay, that's what I want. So I've lined up these holes. Yeah, okay. So let's say you want the shrouds on either side of the box, like so. Again, sometimes you just have to play around with it to make sure you're lining everything up. So I've got them lined up on the side, and by doing that, I know I'm not blocking my blade retention slot with one of the shrouds. This one's getting blocked, but not this one. So that works good. And at this point, what you want to do first is install your set screw to be able to tighten this down onto the blade holder. Tighten it down, but don't let it go past the inner wall here, so it can still slide over. And so you just want to make sure that you line up the slot so that that's still good to go. And then you're going to go ahead and tighten it down now, because the shroud plate is going to go right on top of that set screw. I knew this was going to be a long video. I'm sorry. But hopefully this makes sense. So there's one of them on. And then you can put the other shroud plate on, and you have the dual look instead of the 3. And at that point, the brass, just put in a safe spot, because there's really no place for it at that point, because there's no set screw to hide, as you can see. This is going to be your one of the little set screws, extra ones for your blade retention. Now, if you wanted just the single blade, you basically repeat a similar process, except for the set screw is not going to be hidden underneath this plate. It would actually be put on this one. So then you can clock this emitter shroud any which way that you want. If you want it in line with the box or in line with the auxiliary. And then at that point, since the set screw is going to be not hidden underneath the plate, you can use this little brass greebly for that. All right, so hopefully I didn't confuse you guys. This saber has a lot of different options, and so I just wanted to make sure that I kind of went over how these different emitter mounting rings work so that you can get the most out of this particular configuration. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.